This video will be a short video on how to find the derivative of the exponential function e to the x, where e is our base, our natural base. We use the ln log that we just took a look at a few minutes ago, or in our previous video, and e to the x. We use that in calculus almost exclusively because it's so much easier to use. E to the x is probably the easiest derivative. If you have y equals e to the x, then y prime is e to the x. Doesn't change. If you put a function in for x, so like you have y equals e to the u, then your derivative, you have to use chain rule. Then y prime equals e to the u times du dx. You can also combine this with some of our other rules, like our product rule or quotient rule, that kind of stuff. Look at a couple of examples. Let's say I have y equals e to the sine of x. Then my derivative is going to be e to the sine of x times the derivative of sine of x, which is cosine of x. You cannot simplify that at all. The trig functions don't simplify, so we can leave it that way. Sometimes you'll see in our book that oftentimes the derivative will share an e to the x in common, and so they'll factor that out. Let's look at one like that. Let's say I have y equals x squared times e to the x. So if it's x squared times e to the x, I need to use product rule. So my derivative y prime is going to be 2x times e to the x plus the derivative e to the x, which is e to the x. So it's x squared times e to the x. And then what you'll see in our answer is that we'll factor out what they have in common. So they have one x in common, and they have e to the x in common. And then you can write what's left over. In the first part it's going to be 2, and the next part it's just going to be x. The reason why is because in our next unit what we're going to be doing is we're going to be oftentimes solving these derivatives, like setting them equal to 0 and solving them, finding our critical numbers, our turning points, that kind of stuff. And in doing so, you've got to set each of the factors individually equal to 0, and this one would have a 0 at 0, and this one would have a 0 at -2. So that's it. A nice short lesson. Told you. It's going to be easy. Good luck.